Saying goodbye can be tough. It can be difficult. And if you practice the ancient ritual of a Jewish goodbye, it can be long. Today, the festival of Shemini Atzeret, the 8th day of assembly, when we begin praying for rain, when we say goodbye to our sukkah, when we recall those lost but not forgotten, today is our day of the Jewish goodbye. Today is a day for a long goodbye. We've been eating in our sukkah for 7 days. We've had 4 straight weeks of holidays, prayers, family, food, friends, and today we gather for that long goodbye. If you've ever been to a concert, you know that what a long goodbye is. When the band plays and plays and plays, and suddenly the show is over. You've been singing and dancing for hours, then the music stops. And what do? We stand up, we clap, we say thank you. But we also scream for more. We want more. We want that encore. And most times, the band does just that. They come back. They play one more song or one more set. They've usually saved something special to end on a high note, maybe a hit, a classic, a surprise. And that's how they say that long Jewish goodbye. Today, of course, is the first anniversary in the Hebrew calendar of October 7th. And there are many ways that we will remember and do remember October 7th. But for many, it is the day that the music stopped, specifically at the Nova Festival. But I'd like to share a long goodbye story with you. I am a Jersey boy at heart, and a Jersey boy not from the era of Frankie Valli or Frank Sinatra, but for me, being a Jersey boy means Bruce Springsteen and Bon Jovi, where I literally grew up smack dab in between them with my central address on the Jersey Shore. They are my icons and my legends. And this spring, we saw Bruce on his tour with the E Street Band. If you know a Bruce Springsteen concert, he plays a show that is amazing, nonstop, literally with no break at all for about 3 hours long, a marathon, high energy, lots of singing, lots of dancing, and some storytelling. And after nearly 3 hours, the show ended with us all on our feet, screaming, clapping, chanting, and begging for more. And yes, we got an encore, some favorites we hadn't heard before. They obliged with a final set that had us dancing even higher, enjoying that last long goodbye, with memories to hold close, to remember that special night. And Bruce ended his show with a special song, a song that is a more recent piece, one that you probably don't know. It wasn't Born to Run, it wasn't Glory Days, it wasn't Dancing in the Dark, but it was Bruce's version of Yisker, a song that he wrote in memory of a mentor and a friend, a song in which he questions his own mortality. When will it be his last long goodbye? The song is called I'll See You in My Dreams, and here are a couple of the lyrics. The road is long and seeming without end. The days go on. I remember you, my friend. And though you're gone and my heart's been empty, it seems, I will see you in my dreams. We'll meet, we'll live, we'll laugh again. I'll see you in my dreams. Today is a difficult day. For some, it is filled with beautiful dreams and memories of ones we recall with love at Yisker, our long goodbye that we return to as we hold them close to us one more time today. We honor them. We take time to reflect on their lives, their values, and their love. As Rabbi Aaron Pankin of blessed memory wrote, the meaning of the memorial prayers we say today at Yisker are not a prayer for the dead, but a pledge from us, the living, a motto that in our lives we will continue where they left off, a promise by us to have the courage to continue on the path that they forged, to remind us of our mission in life to honor their legacy. As today is the first anniversary of October 7th, the massacre that began on the festival morning of Shemini, Atzeret, and Simchat Torah in Israel, with the deaths of more than 1,200 Israelis on this day 1 year ago. We know that it's a nightmare that is still ongoing for many, a long goodbye that feels like it will never end, with 101 hostages still in captivity in Gaza. In a few moments, Cantor is going to lead us in the prayer for rain called Geshem, and we'll be adding an additional stanza that was written recently, just a few weeks ago, by Cantor Leibowitz. It's not in your prayer book, but we'll read it to you in Hebrew and English, which compares our prayer for rain with the thousands of tears that have flowed since the horrific attack 1 year ago, and how today our eyes well up, recalling that black day for our people as we begin our long goodbye. I know that some synagogues have lit 1,200 Yisker, Yortzeit candles last night, one for each slaughtered this day 1 year ago, to symbolize that their lights will never go out and blaze a path for us. The Baal Shem Tov, the great Hasidic rabbi, teaches, in remembrance lies our secret for redemption, with the courage to begin again. Today at Yisker, our last long goodbye, I'd like to share a story from October 7th. Among the hundreds of stories that I've read and continue to read, I could spend the entire day sharing stories. It wouldn't be enough. But I'd like to share one story which exemplifies that today it is that Jewish goodbye that's so hard to do because we keep coming back and back. We don't like to leave. And this is the story of Amit Man. Amit was in her early 20s on October 7th. Amit was a beautiful soul. She was a young paramedic who loved to sing, and she was murdered on October 7th, 1 year ago today. For years as a child, Amit took care of her father, who battled cancer. It was so that at age 12, she began reading about diseases and medicine and became an expert in medicine. She dreamed about studying medicine and becoming a doctor so that she could save other lives. At 20, she became a paramedic with Magen David Adom, and by age 22, she was the youngest paramedic course trainer across all of Israel. On the Black Shabbat of October 7th, Amit woke up with her partner Ophir, who was also a paramedic, but he worked in central Israel, not the south. They had recently moved to Kibbutz Be'eri in the Gaza envelope on the border with Gaza. Ophir left for his emergency call to his central station in Israel, not knowing that he'd be safe on that horrific day. And he made Amit promise that if she didn't come with him to central Israel, she would spend the day in their safe room until it was safe for her to leave. She promised him she would stay there, but not soon later, Amit knew that all of the rest of her kibbutz was in trouble. So she left her safe room, she left her safety, running across the kibbutz, avoiding gunfire, to the medical facility, which wasn't a hospital or an urgent care, it was a dental clinic. There, she knew that anyone who was injured on the kibbutz would come to seek treatment. There, with another nurse and a doctor, Amit and their team began treating immediately the severely wounded with the little medical supplies in the dental clinic that existed. She called ambulances to transport the wounded, but as you know, that day there were no ambulances, no life flight helicopters. Amit was practically on her own. For hours, Amit worked to save lives. At the same time was answering text messages from kibbutz members advising them how to treat their own injuries while they were injured in their homes. The nurse and the doctor worked beside Amit, and they kept telling her to leave, to save herself, go and hide in the bushes, run to a safe room. But Amit refused. She would not abandon her call. Every time she would patch up a kibbutz member, they would run back to safety. healed by her hands. And when Hamas terrorists came to the dental clinic, they shot dead immediately the doctor and the nurse, but Amit was shot in the leg. At that moment, she called her mother. She said, "I love you. I'm not getting out of here alive." She called to say goodbye. It wasn't a long goodbye. But before the call ends, you can hear in the voicemail, she asks her mother for forgiveness. "Forgive me for everything I've done over and over again." And that's the last time Amit's beautiful voice was heard. 2 days later, they recovered Amit's body. She had made her own tourniquet, but the terrorists returned and shot her several times. Her oldest sister, Mary, said this, quote, "We know that our sister had 2 chances to save herself. According to Magen David Adom rules, if a paramedic's life is at stake, they are required to keep themselves safe and stay in a safe room. But we know our sister. She decided to go against the rules to save other lives. For her, there wasn't a question. She believed that she was the one who would be responsible for tending to the wounded, and she wouldn't have forgiven herself if she had just saved her own life. Her whole life, all her love of medicine for saving people, came down to this one decision, this one moment. She understood that there were others who needed her. They needed someone to save them. And from her perspective, if she could save just one life, then she had done what she was put on this world to do. 3 days after October 7th, on October 10th, an injured kibbutz member woke up in a hospital after being unconscious for 3 days. The first thing that he said as soon as he opened his eyes and could speak is, "I can't breathe another breath until I speak to Amit. She saved my life. She treated me. I'm only alive because of her. I was the last person that she treated. They'd run out of Band-Aids in the clinic. Even after all the equipment was used up, she just stroked my head and she calmed me. She was my piece of heaven." Amit Man became a symbol of saving lives, of helping others, of goodness, of song, of light, of that Jewish goodbye, hanging on till the end, down to the last Band-Aid. Amit gave her all. Today we gather not only as individuals, recalling the lives of those that we love and those who loved us, but as a people we gather to remember the more than 1,200 who were murdered on this day 1 year ago. There are so many heroes from October 7th. Their stories already fill books that have been published, many books, among them this book, One Day in October, 40 Heroes and 40 Stories. And each of them have one single thread that runs along them. And the thread of them is that we are each connected, that we are connected to each other, and that connection can never be broken. And on Yizkor, today is about that long goodbye. Where we do Jewish goodbyes. We don't say goodbye in just a moment. We return and we return, just like all those heroes, just like Amit, who kept coming back to treat all those who are wounded. There's another story in here. I won't share the full story, but this is a story from a rabbi in Ofakim. He woke up on that Saturday, prepared to go to services and to lead services, but he became a hero. He thankfully survived. Rabbi Shachar Butzchak writes, when he woke up, he was called to action in a different way, not to go to shul, but to defend his town. And he tells a story of a bungee cord. Has anyone here ever done bungee jumping? He talks about the cords that attach us, that never let go. And this is what he wrote in response to October 7th. In 10th grade, I had a friend who wanted to go bungee jumping. I have no idea why people actually go bungee jumping, but that's what he wanted to do. So the instructor fastened him into the harness up on a high bridge. He connected the harness to a cord, and my friend jumped off. But the second after he jumped, the second that he's in the air, the instructor yells out, "Wait, I didn't connect the cord." And his friend is falling and falling and falling, and he hears him, and he's thinking, "It's over for me." And then suddenly, the rope catches. He's pulled back up. It turns out this is a trick that the instructor does every single time when there's a new group with the first jumper. As soon as they're in the air, he shouts, "I forgot to connect the harness." And this is what Rabbi Shachar Butzrak, a hero of October 7th, writes. "I think that jump is a good example of what it means to be Jewish. Bungee jumping is about being Jewish. A person is about to jump off a bridge, but knows that you are always connected. You are always attached by a thread to each other. We jump off, it might be scary, but we know that we are tied to something strong, something special. Someone will reach out to catch us. Someone will make sure that we are okay, even if it means they aren't. Someone else will always be there. We are tethered to other people, something that holds us together. Rabbi Shachar was actually shot on October 7th. As I said, thankfully, he survived. But this is what he said. "That's what kept me going the whole time. That's what kept me going when they were shooting at me. When I fell shot, I knew that I was connected to something bigger and to other people. That's what gave us all, whoever was there, the courage to come out to fight on October 7th. 60 residents of Ofakim got up that day and ran outside while a terrible massacre was raging. They knew they had to do it, not for themselves, for their city, but for their people and their country, because they were attached to something from above that held on to them." We're here because we are connected. We are that cord. We're attached. Yizkor celebrates that most powerful resource that we have, the power of a long goodbye and the cords that tie us together. As we remember those that we love the most, those that we learn the most from, those that continue to inspire us, those that we carry forward, those that lifted us up and that we lift up this day. On this holy day, let us tie our cord back to them, because we know that cord isn't severed, as we connect with our loved ones and we keep their hopes alive, the tiny strings that connect us. May we remember those that we love most, those who were murdered on October 7th, and by living the right way, remind us of our mission in this world of the long goodbye, that we must keep coming back and back to remember them, to save their memory, as so many came back to save others. Chag Sameach.